Magandang araw mga kaibigan. Ito po si Nico Fabian. Nandito na naman sa programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Today is December 16 na po. May dalawang topic tayo. Briefly, we are going to discuss ang mga reaction ng mga tao dito po, mga Filipinos dito sa Malaysia, tungkol itong dalawang issue po. The first issue that we are going to discuss is dito po ang promesa ng gobyerno ni BBM noon. Hindi lang si BBM, sino ang mga tao niya po, kagaya ni Ombudsman Crispin Remulla, also promised that December 15 po, December 15, mayroon na po, ikulong nila po isang senador. Sino yung senador? Sino ba yung senador? If I'm not mistaken, they are talking about, si Senator Bong Revilla. Senator Bong Revilla po, no? They mentioned na isang senador daw po on or before December 15 makulong na po. Ngayon is December 16 na and wala pa rin nangyari. The second issue we are going to talk is ang deadlock dyan po between ang House of Representatives and ang Senado po. Kasi ongoing na po, ongoing na ang bicameral conference dyan po sa Pilipinas, and they are talking about finalizing ang 2026 national budget. But it hit a deadlock. Yesterday po, ang second day ng bicameral conference, hindi natuloy dahil may issue po. So we are going to discuss itong dalawang issue mamaya po. Briefly lang po, no? Kasi wala tayong enough time to discuss. Anyway, before touching on these two issues, I would like to once again invite each and every one of you, mga Filipinos dito po sa Malaysia, particularly mga kababayan, kapatid, kaibigan natin dito po sa Sabah is Malaysia, and very specific dito po sa Kota Kinabalu dahil nandito tayo sa Kota Kinabalu City. And of course, same greetings also goes to our overseas Filipino workers, mga kaibigan, kababayan natin, kapatid natin po, nagtatrabaho sa ibang parte ng mundo. In other words, sila po ay overseas Filipino workers, and malaking tulong ang mga overseas Filipino workers kagaya namin dito po sa Malaysia when it comes to helping the economy dyan po sa Pilipinas. Dahil regular talaga mga overseas Filipino workers, we are sending or remittances, ang remittances namin dyan po sa Pilipinas. And because of the remittances that we are sending sa Pilipinas para sa mga loved ones whom we temporarily left behind, it in many ways greatly help ang economy ng Pilipinas. Okay? And of course, huwag natin kalimutan ang mga kababayan, kapatid, kaibigan natin dyan po mismo sa Pilipinas. Kumusta kayo? And sana okay na okay ang Tuesday morning natin po, no? Nating lahat po. So sige lang, malapit na. Another 10 more days, 9 more days na, then Pasko na po. December 25 is Christmas Day. So let's see po, yung 500 pesos, ready na ba kayo? Pwede na ba yun? 500 pesos para sa Noche Buena? Yung sinabi ang DTI, Department of Trade and Industry, ang secretary natin si Cristina Roque. Dahil dyan po sa statement niya, ang daming tao nagalit po. Ang daming tao, mas lalo na nagalit sa gobyerno. Mas lalo na nagalit sa gobyerno. Okay, now before going again to the two topics that I mentioned earlier, ako po, I would like to greet a very, very special anniversary greetings po sa mga kapatid natin po, members ng Alpha Phi Omega. No? Or kung sa Pilipinas po, we are known for as APO, Alpha Phi Omega. Ang Alpha Phi Omega po is now celebrating their centennial anniversary or our centennial anniversary po. Ibig sabihin, ang Alpha Phi Omega fraternity and sorority po, it was established po 100 years ago. So kunting history lang po, background sa Alpha Phi Omega. Ang Alpha Phi Omega po was founded was created or established in 1925. 1925. So, ibig sabihin, ngayon is 2025, 1 year na po, no? 1 century na po ang sabihin natin ang birth, na? Ang birth ng Alpha Phi Omega. And it was founded by no other than si Brother Frank Reed Horton po. Diyan po sa Lafayette College, Easton, Pennsylvania, United States po. No? And according to the history ng Alpha Phi Omega, this is the biggest fraternity po. Diyan po sa United States of America. During that time, we have a total of 786 campuses po, ang chapters po throughout the United States of America. And dami na po, mga politician, businessmen po, they became members of the Alpha Phi Omega because ang Alpha Phi Omega, all the members of Alpha Phi Omega po, we always believe of tatlo lang po, leadership, friendship, and service. So, this is a scout, din po, kaya mga Camp Scout, Boy Scout po, Girl Scout, nag-umpisa dyan talaga po, dyan talaga ang Alpha Phi Omega. And because of this principle, ang visions, ang belief ng mga members po, maganda ang reputasyon ng Alpha Phi Omega. Alpha Phi Omega. And hindi lang po, when they establish ang Alpha Phi Omega dyan po sa United States of America, particularly dyan po sa Lafayette College, Eastern Pennsylvania, in 1925, December 16, 1925 po. So, it spread internationally po. Now, sa Pilipinas, since we are talking about Philippines po, sa Pilipinas, establish din po ang Alpha Phi Omega. Alpha Phi Omega po sa Pilipinas. Kailan yan po? Ang Alpha Phi Omega nag-establish sa Pilipinas, that was in March 2nd, March 2, 1950. 1950 po. Ang Alpha Phi Omega established in the Philippines, March 2, 1950. And sino po ang founder? Kagaya sa US, ang founder is Frank Reed Horton. And sa Pilipinas din, ang founder po is no other than si Brother Ibrado I. Ureta. Ibrado I. Ureta po. So, when the Alpha Phi Omega or APO po gave birth in the Philippines po, nag-spread din yun po. Nag-spread. And gayon, ang dami ng chapter dyan po sa Pilipinas. Kagaya sa akin po, I'm member of the Alpha Phi Omega. I'm proud member of the Alpha Phi Omega. Ang chapter ko po, we call it ang Alpha Phi Omega or APO chapter Beta Nu. Ang batch ko po was, I joined Alpha Phi Omega, that was in 77, year 27. To be a member of Alpha Phi Omega, you should be a college student. Hindi pwede high school. Hindi pwede high school. Hindi pwede grade school. Grade school and high school, pwede pa tayo mag-Boy Scout ka, o Camp Scout, Boy Scout mo. Now, pagdating ng college, if you want to level up, sa Scout, ninyo, now you can join the Alpha Phi Omega or APO po. And it was in 1977, immediately after my graduation sa secondary level or high school po, then I joined ang Alpha Phi Omega. And this is how ang Alpha Phi Omega. Very good to be a fraternity member po, but the same thing, it all depends on how you are going to use it. Normally, during our time po, ang fraternity po, karamihan mga gulo-gulo yan po, may mga jealousy against other fraternities po. But once you become a professional po, once you become a professional, identify talaga mga members ng Alpha Phi Omega, maskin sino pa o taga saan man yon, basta member ka ng Alpha Phi Omega, even though first time kayo nag-meet po, surprise ang mga tao po, mga non-members po, because even first time nag-meet, as long as they are members of the Alpha Phi Omega, parang matagal ng kilalang kilala. That's how we ang bonding ng members of Alpha Phi Omega. So once again, I would like to greet all my brothers and sisters ng fraternity and sorority natin po, ang Alpha Phi Omega or APO. Once again, I would like to greet a special anniversary greetings to each and every one of us. Happy centennial anniversary sa lahat tayo po. May we always be. May we always be. Yan po ang Alpha Phi Omega, and let's stick to our principle. Ang belief natin po na importante sa buhay natin is leadership. You must be a good leader to yourself, to your family, to your community, and to your nation. That is leadership. And then you must be friendly to everybody. You must be friendly to everybody because we have leadership, friendship, and of course, we must be ready to give service to anybody. Anybody po. Be it our enemies, our friends, or whatever po. Kasi kailangan po for a fraternity, for a person to level up, no? You must be service-oriented po. Anytime you're willing to give service to other people, especially those in need. Those in need. And loyalty po, 100% po. Grabe ang loyalty ng mga members of Alpha Phi Omega. So, this is it. Yan po ang issue natin. Before I'm going to start ang dalawang topic natin, I just want to put out, kasi importante ito celebration namin ng centennial anniversary ng Alpha Phi Omega. Alright? Okay. So, tuloy na tayo po sa issue natin. The first thing, ang first topic that I want to touch is ito po. Hanggang ngayon ang mga Filipinos, hindi lang dyan po sa Pilipinas. Let's talk lang, maskin dito na lang po sa Sabah. Tanong nila po, ano nangyari, Ombudsman Remulla? Few weeks ago, or last month, or more than 1 month po, he kept on saying na before Christmas, before December 15, makikita na natin po, may senador makulong. Dito po sa flood control projects, anomalous deals. So everybody are waiting. Nagpasensya tayo po, no? Hintay. Na ngayon is December 16 na po, anniversary na ng APO. Hanggang ngayon po, wala pa maskin isa na kulong. Maskin isa. Sino yung Senado? Yeah, I still remember, yun sabi nila si former Senator Bong Revilla. Senator Bong Revilla. Pero, walang news tayo po. No? Walang news. Sino pa? Wala nga mga congressman. Ang dami, mentions, ang mga pangalan nila, mention po. Si Remulla, ang dami po. Pero wala pa. The only thing we can hear from them, from the Marcos administration, at saka kay Remulla, no? Na they already received ang mga recommendations coming from the ICI, from the Blue Ribbon Committee, tungkol filing of criminal charges against, mahaba ang lista po. No? Mahaba ang lista. So, ang lista dyan po is, majority of them are mga maliit na isda lang. Maliit na isda. No? Government officials, contractors. Ang malaking isda dyan lang po ay si former Congressman Saldico. Issue na ng warrant of arrest, may kaso na po, but wala pa, hindi pa nakulong po. Dahil wala sa Pilipinas si Saldico. No? And promesa si BBM na they will do everything to make sure na si Saldico will be put behind bars. Pero hanggang ngayon po, nothing happened. The other one is si former Speaker of the House, si Martin Romualdez po, The other day, dami mga storya na po na plunder la. We are going to file cases against Martin Romualdez po. Plunder, malversation, so forth and so on. But even warrant of arrest wala po. Hindi pa nga nakumpisa ang filing of cases against Martin Romualdez. Tapos lang deadline nila po, December 15. 16 na tayo ngayon po. But wala nangyari. Ha? Kaya nga, you cannot blame mga Filipinos when now we are talking about paano tayo, how can we believe the government po? Karamihan, ilang beses na po, they keep on promising. Keep on promising po. And that promises never materialize. It's all empty promises. And then, they're not happy when the people criticize them. Ang gobyerno is not happy when people criticize them. They even threaten of filing cases against these people and they say it's fake news. Disinformation, misinformation po, so forth and so on. But when they do this kind of announcement, sa kanila walang fake news. Sa kanila, kung hindi na-fulfill, na-realize ang mga statements nila po, then, chill lang tayo. Chill lang tayo po. Because we are doing everything. Yan po sa kanila. Pero sa kabilang partido, grabe po. They will threaten you with a lot of actions, including itong mga filing of cases. Libel ba or ano ba, no? Diyan po, this is what is happening. This is what is happening diyan po sa Pilipinas. Kaya nga, ang mga Filipino dito sa Sabah po, we are not happy. We are not happy. But we are still being Filipino, no? Everybody knows na ang mga Filipinos, the Filipinos are peace-loving people. We are caring people. We are forgiving people po. No? Siguro we can wait until Christmas na lang po. Is another few more days na lang, no? Ang promise ni Remulla, ang promise ng Marcos administration, before 15, on or before 15, mayroon na po, maskin isa, behind bars. Ngayon, 16 na po, so okay lang, let us extend our patience hanggang Christmas po. Hanggang Christmas. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow or the following day or next week po before Christmas, baka mayroon na po. No? Baka mayroon. Baka pa lang yan po. No? Baka pa lang yan. Let's hope. Let's hope. Let's be positive. Let's be positive. Kasi ito man ang gusto ng mga Filipinos. We want to see those who are involved in this very big corruption activities po. In fact, this is the biggest in the history of the Philippine history po when it comes to corruption. It involves trillions of pesos, taxpayers' money. It involves legislators, senators, congressmen, politicians, top government officials, and of course, contractors. So, ganito yan po ang sitwasyon. So, we want to see them. We want the government to take action and put them behind bars. And not only that, we also want, now whatever they stole from the Filipinos, trillions of pesos po, they should return it. Do not ask the taxpayers again to pay ang mga pera na nakaw sila sa amin or sa atin. No? Hirap na yun po. This is really what is happening po sa Pilipinas. Let's just hope na pagdating Christmas, they will not again say or give another alibis dahil Pasko, we have to be peace-loving, sharing of love on Christmas Day. That's why we cannot put them behind bars. Sana lang po it will not happen. Sana lang po, it will not reach hanggang ang 2026, ang bagong taon po, ang New Year. Let's see po. Let's see po what will happen. Let's see what will happen po. Grabe. This is exactly what is happening dyan po sa Pilipinas. Alright? So, okay, may mga video clips tayo dito po. Now, I want to share with you. And, yeah, ano ba ito? Let me share with you itong video clip. And kayo na bahala, no? Kayo bahala po to think, ha? Or make any whatever. Sabihin natin, reactions, statements, opinion ninyo po. Now, let me share with you this video clip tungkol sa corruption po. A video clip previously aired about si former congressman and one of the mastermind po, si Saldico. Saldico po. And ang reaction po, ang comments ng isang respectable journalist, female journalist sa Pilipinas, and I'm referring to Malu Tequia. Let's watch and listen to this.
Kontrobersyal ang mga pahayag ng dating mambabatas na si Zaldico hinggil sa flood control scandal at sa di umano'y 100 billion insertion ni PBBM sa 2025 budget. Ngunit maraming hindi bilib dito dahil hindi naman daw ito ginawa under oath. Pero sa panayam at the forefront ng Billionaire News Channel, sinabi ni political analyst Malu Tequia na kahit hindi under oath, may epekto ang mga revelasyon ni Go sa Marcos administration. Giit pa niya, dapat sagutin ni PBBM ang mga paratang ni Go.
Sa tingin ko may impact yan kasi nabubuo yung storya sa isip ng tao kung ano talaga nangyari. May impact siya kahit hindi sworn affidavit dahil natutugma yung kwento, lalong-lalo na nung testimony ni Gutesa. May impact siya dahil lahat naman haka-haka dati. Ngayon, pinatotoo niya. So, it is debilitating for Malacanang, for the institution of the presidency. And really, they need to answer this directly.
Panawagan naman ni Tequia, panagutin dapat ang lahat ng sangkot sa flood control scandal. Napansin kasi ni Tequia na may freeze order na ang Anti-Money Laundering Council sa mga ari-arian ni Zaldico. Pero wala pang ganitong utos para kay former House Speaker Martin Romualdez na dawit din sa kontrobersiya. Do you think that the AMLC will eventually also freeze assets of Speaker Martin Romualdez?
I hope so, Karen, because you have to be fair. You cannot be, siding with one just because he is the first cousin. But still, it takes time for them to move on the former speaker. Yun ang hindi ko maintindihan.
Kinontra naman ni Professor Tequia ang paratang ng palasyo na political destabilization ang sinabi ni VP Sara na handa siyang palitan si PBBM kung magbibitiw ito sa pwesto. Undersecretary Claire Castro, in response to what Vice President Sara Duterte said na she's ready should the President resign, said that based on that statement, si Vice President Sara is a political destabilizer. Ano po yung comment niyo?
Hindi naman yung political destabilization kasi hindi naman siya nagsabi na umalis ka na dyan, ako nang papalit, o mag-resign ka na. Wala. In fact, she was quiet and she, you have a vice president who's very hesitant to be president, slide down to vice president, hesitant to say anything.
Hindi rin sang-ayon si Tequia sa mungkahi na magbuo ng Transition Council na pansamantalang hahalili sa gobyerno kung magbibitiw si PBBM at VP Sara.
Alright, ayun po, narinig tayo kay Malu Tequia po. No? Very vocal ito when it comes to itong mga problema natin sa corruption po. No? Sa corruption, very concerned siya. She's a well-respected media personality dyan po sa Pilipinas. And parehas din ang mga tao, the way she think, the way we think, karamihan ng mga Filipinos, gusto namin po, gusto namin ang mga Filipinos na ikulong na po itong mga tao. And everybody, majority of the Filipinos po, that includes ang mga Filipinos dito sa Sabah, maybe mayroon na 1 or 2 or 3 po will not believe or agree with me, no? Na tama na ito. Grabe na ang sitwasyon. Kulong na talaga sa kanilang lahat. And we believe that, hindi lang si Saldico, hindi lang si Martin Romualdez po, no? Based on the news reports that we've been getting from the legit media outlets dyan po sa Pilipinas, no? Ang pangalan ni Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., the President of the Philippines, was also mentioned. And whether we like it or not, command responsibility as the President of the Philippines po, it is very impossible for these two people to maneuver everything, corruption, that involves trillions of money without the knowledge of the President. Again, let's go back to command responsibility. Mayroon yun po. No? He has the power to say no and say yes. Either no or yes po. So, kailangan ba ang presidente natin, si Bongbong Marcos, to be investigated? Majority of the Filipinos are saying he should also be investigated. And not only him, because the name of the first family, ibig sabihin, ang First Lady of the Philippines, si Lisa Araneta Marcos, as well as the son of the President, si Representative Sandro Marcos, also mentioned po regarding the 2025 national budget, which has been described as the worst national budget in the history of the Philippines because it was tainted with corruption. And because of this 2025 budget po, lumabas ang flood control projects wherein we see a lot of amendments and insertions po. And only to find out na they are getting kickbacks, commissions. They are working together with the legislators, senators, congressmen, government officials, top government officials po, as well as the contractors. And as a result of this thing, who suffered? The Filipino people suffered. Until now, we are suffering. Until now, we are suffering. And we don't want that this thing will drag on. Because if we are going to drag this issue, we will not solve this problem po as soon as possible, then it means every day, the lives of every Filipino daily po will continue, we are going to continue to suffer. Suffer in terms of our daily lives, suffer in terms of the reputation of the Filipinos to the other countries, and the reputation of the country itself, the Philippines itself po. Now you can see foreign investors are thinking twice or thrice whether to go and invest in the Philippines or not because of the corruption issue dyan po sa Pilipinas. So, if we can solve this as soon as possible, then maybe we can move forward. Move forward po. For as long as you will drag it, as what the President earlier mentioned, they have to make sure they have to go slowly in getting the evidences, strong evidences against these people involved. It will take time. It will take time daw po. So that once they file cases against these people po, at the end, pagdating na sa korte po, it will not be dismissed because of legal technicalities po. But it cannot be delayed. Either you have to do it properly and fast. Because if you will delay it, people will continue to suffer. Okay? That is the issue sa 2025 and flood control projects. Okay, pagdating naman tayo dito sa second issue natin, when we talk about the 2026 national budget po. Now, there is a deadlock. Deadlock po between the Senate and the Congress, House of Representatives. Because the issue is the Senate, during the second day of the bicameral conference walk, during the second day by conference walk, the Congress requested to allow Department of Public Works and Highways, Secretary Vince Dizon, to explain why there is a need for the Senate to reconsider the budget which they slashed from the Department of Public Works and Highways amounting to 45 billion pesos po. Slash it and return it back. Which the Senate do not agree. Because according to the Senate, their computation was based on the data given to the Senate by no less than the Secretary of Public Works and Highway, Vince Dizon. And mahirapan din ang mga tao po, ang Senado, to explain to the public, after making a decision, cut ang budget ng Department of Public Works and Highway, and now they will return back the 45 billion pesos. Galit na ang mga tao po because we don't trust ang Public Works Department. We don't trust them anymore because of what happened sa flood control projects, anomalous deals, and if you return back the 45 billion pesos po, takot na po ang mga tao, baka it will go again to the wrong people. Parehas din po. So what the Senate is saying, correct me if I'm wrong, this is how I understand, what the Senate is saying is, sige, we will not return this thing, but show to us first ang Department of Public Works and Highways na may mga changes na po. May mga changes na. Because people don't trust them anymore. And maybe by next year, kung sakali, satisfied na ang Senado, satisfied na mga Filipinos that we can trust again ang Public Works and Highways, then maybe we will increase the budget of the Public Works and Highways for 2027. Sa ngayon, show proof first po. So, yesterday, dapat sana po mag-umpisa ang third day of conference, but it was postponed. They are trying to discuss muna po. Ang mga representative ng House of Representatives, dyan po sa BICAM, conference po, they waited for more than 2 hours. Only to be informed na postpone to today po, December 16 at 4 p.m. At 4 p.m. po. Sabi naman mga senador, some of the senators, kagaya ni Senator Ping Lacson, sabi niya, kailangan si Vince or Secretary Vince Dizon should come to the Senate and say that the details, the data that he gave to the Senate, mali yun po. Mali yun po. Then only maybe they can consider. Because these are very important. Technical ito eh. Kung mag-reduce ang budget ng Department of Public Works and Highways, sabi naman ang Kongreso at saka si Dizon, apektado ang mga proyekto sa Pilipinas po. Kasi walang pera. Walang pera po. Apektado ang ekonomiya. The economy will be affected because there will be no job, no projects. Apektado po. But ang Senado say, we cannot return it back because takot kami, baka itong pera will go to the wrong people again. And it will be repeated again. And the public will blame sa Senate po. But anyway, ang Senado is open. They say, we will see, we'll try to find a solution to this problem. And hopefully, by this afternoon at 4 p.m., they will resume ang BICAM conference, and sana lang po may result na po, may decision na po. But based on the press briefing given by some senators po, medyo malabo pa po na madali ito ma-resolve ang problema. Ang problema po. Okay, lastly, I just want to say na okay, itong 2025 budget, 2026 budget po, gusto ang Senado, wala na mga insertions. Kagaya what happened sa 2025. Amendments, insertions, kaya nga, they make it open to the public. Media can cover ang BICAM conference. Noon, it is closed door. Nobody knows what is happening dyan po sa the conference. But this time around, for the first time in history, they open it. They open it po. But, you know what happened? Nalaman din ang Senado, nalaman din ng mga Pilipino po, na mayroon palang insertion sa 2026 national budget. Parehas din ano nangyari sa 2025 national budget. Ang Senado, ayaw din mga Filipinos po na may mga insertions. Kasi dyan po nakumpisa ang corruption. But only to find out na dito pala po sa 2026 national budget, mayroon insertion. And the worst thing po, sino ang top sa list po ng insertion? Ito pala po galing sa Kongreso. Sa Kongreso po. And we are talking about no less than the newly elected House of Representatives Speaker, si Speaker Faustino D. III. Siya po ang pinakamalaking insertion sa 2026. Next in line, sino po? Ang chairwoman ng Appropriation Committee po ng House of Representatives who took over the post of Saldico. And sino ito po? Si Congresswoman Micaela Swansing. Grabe, no? Kaya nga sabi ang Senado, ops, mahirap na ito. Grabe. Mayroon pala mga insertions. Now, let me share with you itong video clip po regarding itong insertions coming from the House of Representatives. Coming from the House of Representatives. For your information lang ito po. Kayo na bahala, mga opinion ninyo, whatever, if you're not happy po, kayo na bahala po to think. No? Mga Filipinos, kababayan, kapatid, dito po sa Malaysia o dito po sa Sabah. Let's watch and listen to this.
Hindi pa nga tapos ang issue sa questionabling insertion sa 2025 budget, tila hindi pa rin talaga natututo ang ilang kongresista. Sa ulat ng PCIJ, House leaders pa raw mismo ang may pinakamalalaking singit para sa 2026 budget. Ang detalye sa agenda report ni Elijah Bonzo. Matapos magkaroon ng palit-liderato sa Kongreso, bunsod ng sunod-sunod na pagputok ng issue na may ugnay sa flood control scandal. Pero sa House of Representatives, napalitan man ang mga pangalan, parehas na mga posisyon pa rin ang nakatanggap ng pinakamalalaking insertions sa 2026 DPWH budget, ayon sa huling ulat ng Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism o PCIJ. Una sa listahan ay ang pumalit kay Congressman Martin Romualdez bilang Speaker na si Isabela 6th District Representative Boji D. Ang distrito ron ni D ang nakatanggap ng pinakamalaking insertion mula kasi sa isinumiting proposal ng DPWH, tinatayang 1.1 billion pesos lang ang allocated. Pero tumripli ito sa 3.1 billion pesos sa House proposal matapos magkaroon ng halos 2.7 billion peso insertion. Pangalawa sa listahan ang pumalit kay resigned Congressman Zaldico bilang Appropriations Committee Chair na si Nueva Ecija 1st District Representative Micaela Swansing. Sa initial proposal ng DPWH, 1.6 billion pesos lang ang allocated sa distrito ni Swansea. Pero dumoble ito sa 3.4 billion pesos pagkatapos ng House Budget Deliberation, kung saan nagkaroon siya ng tinatayang 1.77 billion peso insertion. Sumunod sa ikatlong pwesto ang kapatid ni Swansea na si Sultan Kudarat 2nd District Representative Bella Swansea na nakatanggap ng 3.9 billion peso allocation matapos ng tinatayang 1.6 billion peso insertion. Sa kabila naman ng resignation bilang speaker at pagkakadawit sa mga nakatanggap umano ng bilyong-bilyong kickbacks, ang presidential cousin na si Romualdez ang isa raw sa mga nakatanggap ng malaking bulto ng 500 billion peso allocable at non-allocable funds ng DPWH. Nakatanggap ang distrito niya ng 6 billion pesos, mas mababa sa originally proposed na 9.9 billion pesos. Ang distrito naman ni Congressman Bambi Emano ang tanging nakakuha ng mas malaking allocation sa House Budget Proposal na 6.35 billion pesos. Sinisikap pa ng Billionaire News Channel na kunin ang panig ng mga nabanggit na kongresista, pero hindi pa sila tumutugon sa aming mga mensahe. Marami ng good governance advocates sa bansa ang nanawagan na dapat na ayon sa populasyon at poverty rate ng isang lugar ang sistema ng pag-allocate na infrastructure budget sa bansa. At ayon sa report ng PCIJ, hindi ang distrito ni Romualdez at Emano ang masasabing pinakakapos at may malaking populasyon sa buong bansa. Para sa agenda, Liza Bonzo, Billionaire News Channel.
Okay, they are very clear po, no? Very clear. They change ang House Speaker natin po. They change mga committee chairman po. But, nandyan pa rin ang pork barrel. Pork barrel po. Nandyan pa rin ang insertions. No wonder ang Congress, they really want na babalik ang 45 billion pesos budget that was slashed by the Senate po, no? Sa Department of Public Works na dahil mayroon pala sila mga insertions. And worst thing po, ang bagong speaker, malaki. Ang chairman ng Appropriation Committee po, malaki din po. And si former speaker, Martin Romualdez po, nakuha din yun po, 500 billion allocation, allocable funds. 500 po. Ibig sabihin, parang may control pa rin si Martin Romualdez dyan po sa House of Representatives. Ganon pa rin po ang sitwasyon. Kaya nga, we mga Filipinos dito sa Sabah, and I'm sure ang mga overseas Filipino workers are watching me now, no? We jointly urge, appeal, no? To the Senate, please protect the welfare and interest of all the taxpayers, Filipino taxpayers po. Do not simply allow this budget to pass po. No? Scrutinize it properly po. For the sake of everybody po. Because we don't want to see again repetition of what happened dyan po sa 2025 national budget. Sa national budget po. We trust the Senate, mga senador natin po. We trust them. And we know that they are going to do a good job in protecting our interests and welfare. Ha? Sa amin po, lahat mga Filipinos, particularly those who are paying taxes. Lahat naman tayo, we are paying taxes. Mas yung mga bata po, no? Mga chikiting natin po, when they go and buy biscuits or sweets sa tindahan po, may tax yun po. Di ba? So, paki na lang. Paki na lang po. Let's all pray. In the spirit of Christmas po, sana po, itong mga tao involved sa kalukuhan po, they will realize. Sana lang po ang Senado natin po, will also really do the part po. We know that we have good senators. We have good senators po. So let's all pray. On top of it, we'll just leave it to our Creator, ang Panginoon natin po, to protect us in all aspect. What do you think? Salamat po for watching itong programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Medyo mahaba kunti po, but importante na importante itong issue natin today po. And later on, I'm going to monitor ang BICAM bicameral conference mamayang hapon po. And whatever details or whatever news mayroon po, I'll make sure that you will be properly informed. Stay tuned lang kayo po dito sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Once again, si Nico Fabian would like to say, maraming salamat. Thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, Philippines, God bless us all. Ingat tayong lahat. Advance Merry Christmas. And happy anniversary to all the members of the Alpha Phi Omega. I'll see you in my next episode. Bye for now, and I love you all.